What if we told you that Morocco is quietly shaping the future of Africa? It's not just about politics or economics. It's about seizing opportunities, building powerful alliances, and positioning itself as a major leader on the continent. But what's really behind Morocco's intense focus on Africa? Is it a clever strategy for growth, or is there something more at play? Here, we would like to take a moment and thank you for supporting us and being a valued part of our strong community. And if you are not yet a member, we encourage you to join us and help build an even stronger community together. Let's get started. Why is Morocco focusing more on Africa? The simple truth is that Africa is on the rise, and Morocco wants to be a big part of that rise. Just take a look at Africa's growth over the last couple of decades. It's not just the population that's growing. Africa's economies are growing too. The continent is full of young, energetic people, a growing middle class, and massive natural resources that the world is paying attention to. Morocco sees these shifts and knows that if it wants to stay relevant and play a key role on the global stage, Africa is the place to be. Now, Morocco is no stranger to success, but it knows that the future of power is in the hands of those who can make the best connections and investments now. And what's Morocco doing? It's doing what any smart country would do. It's positioning itself for the future. How?
Africa is just hunger and poverty. That's what many people think. But today, I want to show you the opposite side of Africa in just 1 minute. In Rwanda, there is a thriving economy with clean streets and safe neighborhoods. In Ethiopia, I saw 50% of its ministers are women, including the president. And I saw an economy that grows by 10% every year, one of the fastest in the world. In Nigeria, they are building technology companies left and right. In Zimbabwe, I saw the country get rid of its 40-year dictator and people were celebrating. And in the Seychelles, I saw a lot of rich Africans and a lot of rich nature. So the next time you think about Africa, I hope you don't see the past, I hope you see the future.
By building strong relationships across Africa, Morocco is reaching out to African nations and saying, we want to work together. And why not? Africa's potential is enormous, and Morocco sees the chance to not just sit back and watch it grow, but to help shape that growth. It's like being part of a winning team. It's not just about riding the wave, it's about helping build it. Morocco is looking at Africa as an opportunity, not just for economic reasons, but also for geopolitical influence. Morocco is already well established in North Africa, but now it's eyeing deeper ties across the whole continent. It's not just about business, it's about leadership. Morocco wants to play a part in helping Africa shape its future, so it's focusing on investing, trading, and collaborating with African nations to make sure it's right there in the middle of Africa's big growth spurt. But why now, specifically? Well, because now is when Africa's big moment is happening, and Morocco is making sure it doesn't miss it. In 2017, something pretty major happened. Morocco rejoined the African Union, and it wasn't a casual move. For years, Morocco had stayed out of the AU because the organization recognized the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic (SADR), which Morocco doesn't agree with. So, Morocco had its reasons for staying away. But by 2017, Morocco realized it was time to get back in. And why? Because the African Union is the continent's most influential platform for political and economic cooperation. If Morocco wanted to be part of shaping Africa's future, it had to be inside the room where those decisions were being made. Rejoining the AU wasn't just about diplomacy, it was about power. When Morocco decided to rejoin, it was making a statement. We're not just a side player anymore. We are here to lead. This was Morocco's way of saying, we're ready to play a central role in Africa's growth. It wasn't about just showing up for meetings. It was about Morocco positioning itself as a key decision maker on the continent. The country didn't just want a seat at the table. It wanted to be one of the main voices in the room. By rejoining, Morocco opened up more opportunities to form new alliances, collaborate on economic and political projects, and get involved in shaping Africa's future in a way it never could before. So, it wasn't just a diplomatic decision. It was a bold, strategic move to be at the heart of Africa's future. Okay, now let's get into how Morocco is building these strong relationships across Africa. And let us tell you, Morocco isn't just talking the talk, it's walking the walk. It's investing heavily in critical industries that Africa is hungry for: banking, infrastructure, and technology, to name a few. Morocco is putting its resources into areas that will not only help it grow, but will help the entire continent grow. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Take banking, for example. Morocco has been setting up its banking network all over Africa. By doing this, it's helping African countries modernize their financial systems. And it's not just about Morocco coming in and saying, "We're here to take over." It's about Morocco partnering with these countries to help them build strong, sustainable financial infrastructures that benefit everyone involved. It's a win-win. Morocco gets a stronger presence in Africa, and African nations get access to the banking services they need to grow their economies. But it doesn't stop at finance. Morocco is also investing heavily in telecommunications, another industry that's crucial to Africa's future. Many African countries still have outdated infrastructure when it comes to communications and tech. Morocco is coming in and offering the expertise, technology, and financial support needed to upgrade these systems. The result? Better connectivity, faster communication, and a huge boost to Africa's digital economy. And that's not all. Morocco's commitment to building relationships goes beyond money. It's about people. Morocco is offering scholarships to African students, allowing them to study in Morocco's universities. This isn't just charity work, it's smart. By investing in education, Morocco is ensuring that Africa's future leaders are trained and ready to take on the challenges of tomorrow. These scholarships aren't just about sending students to Morocco, they're about helping the continent build its human capital, which is key to its long-term success. So, Morocco is giving more than just money. It's giving knowledge, skills, and opportunities. That's how you build strong, lasting partnerships. Now let's talk about the help Morocco is providing in terms of education. When you think about how Morocco is helping Africa, it's not just about economic investment, it's also about showing up in ways that matter. One of the biggest ways Morocco is supporting Africa is through education. By offering scholarships to African students, Morocco is investing in the future of Africa. The students who study in Morocco today will be the leaders of tomorrow, driving Africa's development and progress. And when you think about it, that's one of the smartest investments Morocco can make. But Morocco's help isn't just limited to education. It's also stepping in when African countries are struggling with debt. In a move that shows true leadership and commitment to Africa's growth, Morocco has agreed to forgive some of Africa's debts. Imagine the relief for countries burdened by financial stress. Debt forgiveness gives these countries the freedom to focus on what matters: building their economies, improving healthcare, and investing in infrastructure. It's a huge deal, and it's Morocco's way of showing that it's not just in it for itself, it's in it for Africa. On top of that, Morocco has been involved in various development projects aimed at improving Africa's infrastructure. Whether it's renewable energy projects or better transportation networks, Morocco is helping build the backbone of Africa's future. These projects aren't just about creating jobs, they're about making Africa more self-sufficient and resilient. The more Morocco invests in Africa's infrastructure, the more Morocco itself stands to benefit from a stronger, more connected continent. Now let's get into the heart of Morocco's foreign policy: the Western Sahara. This region is central to Morocco's identity and sovereignty, and it's something that Morocco will not back down on. The Western Sahara has been in dispute for decades, but for Morocco, this land is non-negotiable. It's not just about territorial control. It's about preserving Morocco's national pride and security. You see, the Western Sahara is rich in resources, like phosphate, which is a key part of Morocco's economy. But it's not just about the economic benefits. It's about the fact that Morocco sees the Western Sahara as an integral part of its territory. Losing the Western Sahara would be a massive blow to Morocco's national identity and its geopolitical standing. The country has invested heavily in developing the region, building infrastructure, and creating economic opportunities. This investment isn't just about Morocco wanting to control the land. It's about making the region a prosperous, self-sustaining part of Morocco. And here's the thing. The Western Sahara issue is more than just a territorial dispute. It's something that shapes Morocco's entire foreign policy. Morocco's relationship with other African countries is deeply influenced by its stance on the Western Sahara. While some countries support Morocco's claim, others, particularly Algeria, are firmly against it. This divide has major diplomatic implications, and it's something Morocco has to navigate carefully. Here's where things start to shift. Recently, the United States made a big move. They officially recognized Morocco's sovereignty over the Western Sahara. Now, that was a game changer. For years, Morocco had struggled to get international recognition for its claim, with much of the world remaining neutral or backing the opposing stance of the Polisario Front. But with the US coming out in support of Morocco, it changed the whole narrative. This was more than just a statement. It was a significant diplomatic victory for Morocco. Having the backing of the United States, one of the world's most influential countries, gave Morocco a huge boost on the international stage. It legitimized Morocco's position in a way that hadn't been done before. The US support meant that Morocco's claim was not only recognized by a major global power, but that it was now a formal part of the international conversation. For Morocco, this was a powerful affirmation of its territorial integrity and a clear signal that it wasn't going to back down on the Western Sahara issue. But this shift doesn't just affect Morocco. It's having a ripple effect across Africa. Some African nations, particularly those who've supported Algeria's position, are feeling uneasy. They see this as a significant shift in the power dynamics within Africa, and it's challenging their views on the Western Sahara issue. Morocco's strengthened position is likely to influence how African countries engage with the ongoing conflict. Some countries may feel pressured to reassess their stance, while others might double down on their support for the Polisario Front. This new US recognition has certainly added a new layer to the already complex dynamics in Africa. It's clear that Morocco's international support is growing, but it's also creating a more complicated political landscape within the African Union. The Western Sahara issue has been one of the most divisive issues in Africa for decades, and Morocco's position on it continues to shape the political landscape across the continent. When Morocco first claimed sovereignty over the Western Sahara, it created a rift in Africa, with countries like Algeria strongly opposing Morocco's stance. This divide has only deepened over time, especially with countries like South Africa and other members of the African Union backing the Polisario Front, the group advocating for Western Sahara's independence. This ongoing divide has created tension within the African Union. While some African countries see Morocco's claims as legitimate, others view it as a violation of the rights of the people in the Western Sahara. And as Morocco continues to assert its position, the debate rages on. It's a delicate balance because the African Union has to juggle this issue with other matters of continental importance, like trade agreements, security, and economic development. But the Western Sahara issue cannot be ignored, as it continues to stir up diplomatic tensions and affect relationships between African nations. So how has Morocco's position influenced its standing within Africa? Well, it's solidified Morocco as a key player in African politics. But it's also isolated the country from some important allies. Morocco's steadfastness on this issue has made it both a leader and a divisive force in African diplomacy. On one hand, it's shown the world that Morocco won't back down. But on the other hand, it has created a fractured diplomatic environment, with countries taking sides. As the African Union continues to struggle with this issue, Morocco's growing influence in the continent will inevitably impact how African countries collaborate on other important matters. Now here's where things get interesting. While Morocco's stance on the Western Sahara has certainly caused some tension, it also has the potential to bring Africa closer together, if approached in the right way. The idea here is that Morocco's growing influence and its ongoing investments across Africa could help create stronger, more united ties between African nations. Think about it. Morocco's investments in banking, telecommunications, and infrastructure are helping modernize Africa and create connections between countries. These investments are building relationships, not just between Morocco and African nations, but also among African nations themselves. Morocco is helping countries build stronger economic foundations, which could ultimately lead to more collaboration between them. The more interconnected Africa becomes economically, the less likely it is that political disagreements will tear it apart. Morocco could play a key role in fostering cooperation by continuing to encourage cross-border investments and partnerships. Moreover, Morocco's active involvement in Africa's development could inspire other African countries to follow suit. If Morocco can put aside differences and work toward the common good of Africa's economic growth, other countries might start doing the same. Instead of letting issues like the Western Sahara divide the continent, Morocco's efforts could serve as a model for how nations can put their differences aside and focus on shared goals. While the political landscape might be divided, Morocco's economic leadership and its willingness to invest in Africa's future could provide the catalyst for greater unity. The question is, will other African nations embrace this vision of cooperation, or will the divides continue to grow? Let's take a look at what the future holds. Well, the future is a bit uncertain, but it's also full of potential. Morocco is committed to playing a leading role in Africa's future. It has already made significant investments in infrastructure, banking, and education, and it's only going to continue to expand its influence across the continent. Morocco's leadership in these areas will not only strengthen its economy, but also help boost the entire continent's economic standing. This is especially important as Africa continues to develop and integrate itself into the global economy. Morocco's future in Africa is tied to Africa's future, and the two are inextricably linked. But there are challenges ahead. The Western Sahara issue is far from settled, and it continues to be a source of tension between Morocco and other African nations. As much as Morocco's economic influence grows, it will have to navigate these political tensions carefully. Morocco's commitment to Africa's growth will need to be balanced with the reality that not all African nations agree with its stance on the Western Sahara. This could create ongoing diplomatic challenges, but Morocco's continued success in economic and social development will likely help ease some of these tensions over time. Looking forward, Morocco's role in Africa will only grow stronger. Whether it's continuing to build infrastructure, offering scholarships, or supporting sustainable development, Morocco is setting itself up to be a key player in shaping Africa's future. But, as we've seen, the path forward won't be without its obstacles. The Western Sahara issue remains a thorn in the side of Morocco's relationships with some African nations, and that's something that Morocco will need to carefully manage in the years to come. However, Morocco's commitment to Africa's prosperity is clear, and that's a huge positive force that will help the continent move forward. The future for Morocco and Africa is full of promise, and the next steps will shape the continent's destiny for generations to come. Do you think more nations will come to African terms just to align with Africa? Let us know in the comment section. Why are nations so obsessed with working with African nations? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.